Hello, I'm John Peters, and we have two news stories for you today. Stay tuned, because at 9 o'clock we'll be reporting live. On the Dred Scott case, a former slave is going up against Supreme Court Justice Roger Taney on the matter. Scott is a free slave due to the fact that his owner had died recently. The Missouri Compromise ruling had made things bad already, and now the Dred Scott case was making things worse. Scott's previous owner had taken over territories where slavery was illegal, then had taken it back to Missouri. The owner at the time was in critical condition, and he died about a month ago, and now Scott is suing for his freedom. His argument is that he's a free man because he lived in territories where slavery was illegal. The case had reached the Supreme Court 3 days ago, and Chief Justice Roger Taney had delivered a say on the dilemma. He made the argument since Scott wasn't a U.S. citizen, he couldn't sue the U.S. courts. Taney also ruled that Scott was bound with the Missouri Slave Code, and he was a resident of Missouri. As a result, free territory did not matter in the case. In addition, Taney thought that Congress could not ban slavery in territories, and to do so would violate the slaveholders' property rights, which the Fifth Amendment is protecting. In conclusion, Taney declared legislation such as the Missouri Compromise unconstitutional. Southerners cheered, and Northerners were outraged by this ruling. This is an ongoing topic in society, and we will be reporting live on this information next week. The Lincoln and Douglas debate is also occurring in the news. Republicans are fearing that Democrats want to legalize slavery in all states, not just all territories. Stephen A. Douglas, a sponsor of the Kansas-Nebraska Act, received death threats and was one of their main targets. Abraham Lincoln was nominated by Illinois to challenge Douglas for his U.S. Senate seat. In his argument, Lincoln made the case that Northerners fear the expansion of slavery by the Southerners. Now the two men are holding formal debates across Illinois. They are seen as models of political debates across the country, with the short, stocky, and well-dressed Douglas along with the tall, thin, and gawky Lincoln. Lincoln argued that slavery should not be banned, just not expanded. Douglas does not share that belief that it was the government's rule to prevent this expansion of slavery. Instead, he argued that popular sovereignty was the best way to address the issue at hand because it was the most democratic choice. But popular sovereignty was a problem for Douglas because the Dred Scott case had ruled that people couldn't vote to ban slavery because doing so would take away the slaveholders' property rights, which would ban the Fifth Amendment. In the debates, Lincoln asked Douglas if he thought the people who were in a territory that were against slavery could legally prohibit it, despite the Dred Scott case decision. Douglas replied that it did not matter what the Supreme Court might decide about slavery because the people have lawful rights to introduce or exclude it as they please. Douglas had won the re-election. Lincoln, though, despite his loss, had become a national figure and strengthened his standing in the Republican Party. Have a good morning, and we'll see you tomorrow. John Peters reporting, and goodbye.